Well, aren't you going to buy a mate to be?
Yeah. The celebration's tonight. My family's giving me a party. Besides, you know the rule about drinking at lunchtime?
How about after work, eh?
You can go into pubs now.
Yeah, bottle shops.
Oh, I get it. You want me to buy booze for you?
Three lads about to cause a whole heap of trouble in the film Love in Limbo. That's the name, Love in Limbo. The Welsh accent belongs to Russell Crowe, and the bloke in the white T-shirt is Aden Young. Would you please welcome Russell and Aden? So what was that, Jeff?
That was the Limbo, right?
Do the Limbo.
Very quick.
Oh, absolutely. Very quick. Yeah, so I figure between you, welcome, between you two blokes that in recent times you've racked up 8 or 9 or 10 films together, haven't you? It just seems non-stop.
Each.
Just in that time. The most recent one for you, of course, it got all the attention, got you an AFI award with Romper Stomper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you, I mean, you've grown your hair, obviously, but have you lived out that particular bad image?
I don't think it necessarily has a bad image as such, but, you know, some people get confused with you and the character and everything, but I'm still going through it, because, you know, in a couple of weeks I'll be in America for 5 weeks doing press about it there.
What, for the release in America?
Yeah, I got chewed up in England, Ray. They didn't like me very much in England.
Well, it's a bit too close to the bone.
Well, it's too sensible and serious for Australia. You know, the English don't want anything serious from Australia. You know, they want something light-hearted, and they want Sylvania Waters and everything. If we're actually sort of approaching any sort of major political problems, they just want to...
I'm not sure they want Sylvania Waters, do they?
Well, I'm watching it.
You reckon that fits the stereotype? But nevertheless, it's also much closer to an English recent, the last 20 years or so of English history than it appeared to be to Australia, doesn't it?
Romper Stomper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they take a very conservative line about it, and you can appreciate that. You can understand it, but still, you know, they attack me personally, Ray. They abuse me.
The worst thing possible. What about America then? How do you plan to promote that in America? You go on the talk shows and so on?
Yeah, we'll do, you know, New York, Seattle, and Los Angeles. Right. And, you know, as many of the major TV things and newspapers as we can fit in.
Yeah.
And
that'll be interesting.
It will be, but America has a more open society like Australia, so you can discuss those sort of things without it necessarily having to be your ideology because you're associated with it, which is what the attitude was for me.
Yes. And for you, Aden, I mean, we spoke last time when Black Robe was out. That was, again, a movie that, an awful long way from the one we're going to talk about today.
It's a bit different, yeah.
But for you, do you feel, you've both had such fantastic publicity, and at the risk of embarrassing you, so much sex symbol stuff, next Marlon Brando, next this, next that, next Mel Gibson, etc. How do you actually keep a lid on that? Because that's the sort of thing they say to young Bradmans before they come along. How do you keep a lid on that?
Oh, I don't know. You hit them for 6. You know, it's just you just ignore it. You know, you don't play it. If you play it, you lose. You know, so you just.
But if you pick up one of the magazines, one of the glossy mags, and it says, you know, the next Marlon Brando, the next Mel Gibson, I mean, do you throw it in the garbage?
Well, you just, you know, you have to realize that why you're in the industry is, you know, what is leading you, what is your artistic belief within the industry, and hopefully that'll hold you, you know, hold your strength through.
You told us with Black Robe, we've got some scenes from Black Robe there now, but you almost didn't do that. Basically, you were...
well, yeah, I nearly gave it up because I was doing Romeo and Juliet at the time, and I just fell in love with the role, fell in love with the whole idea. I was Romeo and was going to die for it, and when I was given a better opportunity, I didn't see it immediately. You know? So there was a bit of Romeo in me.
It's funny you should mention that new Mel Gibson thing and stuff, because that does come up like continuously all the time. And in England, they asked me about it, and I just sort of, you know, it was just the one time too many, so I just started listing off all the people I'd been compared to. I said, you know, Mel Gibson, Brian Brown, Sam Neill, Gary Cooper, James Dean, Cary Grant, all the, you know, and now I play the skinhead, they'll probably call me the New Yul Brenner.
All right, but this film we're talking about now is the Welsh accent. Mm-hmm. You told us once before, just after you'd done it, that you basically test drove that on Anthony Hopkins.
Well, I asked him on the set of Spotswood about a Welsh accent, because I was just about to go off and do it. And as I've told you before, he just told me to do a bad Indian accent, and I'll be very close. Thanks, Tone.
Thanks, Tone. Well, give us a little bit of Welsh.
Oh, Raymond, come on, don't do this to me. Oh, we won't moving right along.
But the first comedy one, though, Russell, was it? And that's the first comedy role I can remember, sort of straight-out comedy for you.
Yeah, well, especially that extreme. I mean, Arthur, I describe Arthur as an anally retentive Welsh Baptist virgin. And it's very...
Anally retentive Welsh Baptist virgin.
Yes, nice young man. It fills the audience with hope, though, I think, because at the end of the film, you really do believe that within the next decade, there's a great possibility he might lose his virginity.
I think that's a bit rash.
Yeah, I'm stepping out a bit too far there, yeah.
Well, what about, again, I guess even the introduction here, and it's been based on so many of the reports about the film, even to talk about Strictly Ballroom or talk about the successes is part of, I guess, the blurb that comes out of films. But it is about nostalgia, it is about days that used to be, it is about young men finding their sexuality all, coming out of innocence, isn't it? So in that sense...
And a great time of opportunity in Australia, 1957, full, virtual full employment. You could just walk in off the street and get a job. So it's a very optimistic film, and that's reflected in its art direction with the primary colours. And
I think the essence of the film is pretty much... It is the 50s the way it is remembered for a lot of people. It isn't exactly the same, but I think what David Elfrich, the director, tried to do was remember what drove that period. What drove the...
You mean the Holden?
I drove
a lot of cars.
A lot of
good cars.
Let's have a look at the action. Look at the guys in action. This is another clip from the film.
Bloody pobby bastard. I know that's what you're calling me behind my back. I've never heard anybody call you that, Arthur. Whinger? Whinging bloody pound? Oh, well, if they did, I'm sure they didn't mean it.
Oh, sure, like. One of my best mates is a pommy bastard. We call him that all the time. We're just a bunch of Aussie bastards.
What's the difference?
But I tell you, there is a difference.
I am not a pommy bastard.
I'm a Welsh bastard.
So each time we talk, you're about to take a break. Have you had a break?
I've just been in Sydney having a break, sort of trying to readjust myself. It's taken a long time, actually.
Yeah.
Because you pick up the things from various characters and stuff, and you think you're doing fine and well and everything, and you just get to a point where you're just very, very tired. And this is not having a whinge, folks. This is just,
He's having a whinge.
He's having a whinge. But it has been...
I'm telling that story now.
6 or 7 or 8 films in a row that you've done, all without a break. And you're much the same. I mean, it's certainly half a dozen films you've done over the last couple of years, isn't it?
Yeah, you keep working, you got to pay the rent, so just keep going.
That's the other illusion, which, people think, oh, man, you've done, 8 films, you must have a Porsche. Hey, come on, this is the Australian film industry, man, horses for courses.
So what you caught the bus here, did you?
Absolutely.
So what for you next? You have to crack it in Hollywood. I know you're about to go to Cannes, aren't you? For a couple of films
I'm off to Cannes for a film in competition, which is Broken Highway, which hopefully will do well.
This hasn't happened in the last few years. Strictly Ballroom was in Director's Fortnight, Proof was in Director's Fortnight. Now we've got 3 films in main competition at Cannes. That's the big league, That's sort of... he's going to get to meet Gary Oldman and all that sort of stuff.
But you were there for Proof?
Yeah.
So what advice can you give Aden as he's about to go to Cannes with all those bare-breasted women on the beaches and all that sort of stuff?
Now, Raymond, we've had a couple of conversations about this already, and I'd just like to keep between me and Aden what has been passed on. From one man to another. And I'm sure you can understand that.
Absolutely. Is that names and telephone numbers? Hollywood, do you have to crack it in Hollywood to make it now? I mean, what's your motivation?
I don't think so. No, I think we've got a better industry here than they have in Hollywood. I think Hollywood's drying up. Bottom line, I think the grit that's coming out of the industry at the moment, the real life is much better here.
But if Hollywood was on the phone now,
of course I'd go.
That's what I like, a man with principle who's got a picture.
But there's relative terms there as well, though. Me and Aden discussed this in the past. If the requirement is to subjugate your culture and subjugate where you come from, well, it just doesn't fit in. I can play whatever role they want me to play, but I'm not going to pretend to be an American, I come from this end of the world, that's it, bottom line. And if they don't want to respect that, then I don't want to make their movie.
All right, well done. Love and Limbo is a movie. It opens Thursday week. That's right. You
Never get a job.
Opens Thursday week in... he's off to Hollywood. Okay, Love and Limbo opens Thursday week in cinemas around Australia. Thanks, Russell. Thanks, Aden, very much. Good to see you.
Ever get the feeling that there's more to life than this?